Mr. Hanegbi, you're the security advisor to the Prime Minister. You're in every important meeting these days. How would you describe what happened in the past 3 days?
You have to see what happened in the past 3 days in the context of what happened in the last 10 months. And since October 7th, 23, till now, we were attacked from 7 different fronts, from Yemen, from Iraq, from Syria, from Iran, from Lebanon, from the West Bank, and from Gaza. And the main war is in Gaza, but now we are facing threats from Lebanon and Iran to attack the population of Israel, and we have to get ready. This is what I'm engaged in. The Prime Minister is ordering every Israeli security organization to get ready for an attack. And we also, of course, make sure that the enemies will realize that any attack on us will be answered in a way that they will regret the aggression.
What do you know about the death of Mr. Haniya in Tehran?
We made a decision not to discuss this issue, and you have seen, nobody in Israel took responsibility.
Why is that? Because on the other hand, talking about the Hezbollah commander, you said it was us.
Yes.
What is the difference?
When we do something, this is what we are responsible for. And in Lebanon, we were attacked in the last Saturday. 12 kids were massacred while playing football in a local neighborhood stadium. So we took an oath to make sure that those who were responsible for the massacre will be punished. This is what we did in Lebanon.
Talking about what happened in Iran with Mr. Haniya, you said you wouldn't talk about it. Why?
Exactly.
Why you don't talk about it?
We don't talk about it, and we don't talk about why we don't talk about it.
The New York Times is reporting that there was a bomb which was planted months before inside a guest room of the Iranian government. Would Israel be capable of doing that?
I can only tell you that the spirit, the force, the commitment behind all the 7 fronts that I just mentioned is Iran. Iran is leading a radical axis, religious one, fanatic one, sometimes, as we saw in Gaza, even barbaric and sadistic one, to try to destroy the state of Israel. So, of course, we are building capabilities to confront such horrific vision of Iran. It's the only thing I can tell you.
And Mr. Haniya, he was a target for Israel for a long time, right?
I understand that you insist to get a boring answers. So I'm not going to relate to Mr. Haniya, the late Mr. Haniya.
How would you describe him when he was the commander for Hamas?
Mr. Haniya, for many, many years, dedicated his life to massacring Israelis, butchering Israelis. We had good and solid intelligence that he was one of the masterminds of the October 7th massacre, in which 1,200 Israelis, most of them civilians, were killed, beheaded, raped, burned to death, children in front of their parents, parents in front of the children. He was not committing himself because he was not in Gaza, but he was definitely one of the masterminds of this horrific attack.
What does mastermind mean?
The leadership of Hamas for a long time devoted their life to killing Jews. And Haniya was for a long time the head of the military wing in Gaza. And when he left Gaza, like 9 years ago, through time, became the leader of the whole movement. This is what he was when those leaders created this horrific trauma in our lifetime.
Iran responded already on the death of Mr. Haniya, who was killed while he was in Tehran for the new Iranian president. And the leader, Khamenei, said that Iran will respond. There's reports that Iran would attack Israel directly.
Our advice to Iran, and especially to the supreme leader of Iran, not to go down this path. Attacking Israel is something that they will pay a very painful price for. Hopefully, they won't do it.
What does a price mean?
It means that Israel is not only focusing on defense, like we did on April 14, when they launched 330 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs at Israeli targets. We intercepted 99% of them with the help of the United States and other countries that were part of a coalition, a defensive coalition. But we make clear now, defensive is essential, but we are not going to be only on the defense. We will punish any country that will embrace this way of violence and aggression.
What would happen if Iran, like in April, but even more, attack Israeli cities, civilian infrastructure maybe? There's a discussion about that, if that could happen from the Iranian side.
Yeah.
What would Israel's response be like? And is there a threat of a big war between Israel and Iran?
So again, we hope that the mistake that you just portrayed is not going to happen. It's going to be a mistake. Israel is very strong.
But they already announced it. I mean, they said they will respond. So
yes, well,
now they have to respond, probably.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It took them 14 days in the last time in April to make a decision. But they haven't paid a severe price for their aggression in April because of several reasons. We decided to accept the request of United States since we intercepted 99% of the attack. And President Biden and other forces in the world asked us to contain it. So that's a new situation now. You can contain once, not twice.
Back then, in April, Israel responded too, after Iran attacked.
We never acknowledged this response. And we made sure that Iran understands that now it's a different situation, and hopefully they will be much more wise this time.
Is it right now the most dangerous situation for the region?
It's very dangerous. This situation that is a result of a massive attack against Israel in October 7th without no justification, no provocation on the side of Israel. We were celebrating our holiday. It was Shabbat, the day of holiday for all of Israelis, and boom, 4,000 rockets were shot at us, at civilians, killing civilians. 3,000 crazy commando fighters attacked 32 Israeli villages, massacring civilian people in their beds, in their pajamas. This was unacceptable. So Israel changed. It's a new Israel now. Sometimes you're here, you speak to Israelis, you understand. We are never going back to the situation of October 6th. Never. We are now fighting back. We are committed to prevent such a horrific attack again. Unfortunately, it was not a unique force, suicidal force headed by the Palestinian of Hamas. It was a group that is part of a coalition of death. And this coalition of death is working against us day in, day out from all over the place. So we are committed to also defend ourselves and punish those aggressors on the other front.
But how dangerous is the situation for Israeli citizens right now? Because we see Iran, they have military capabilities. We see Lebanon, the Hezbollah, we see Houthis, we see others who might join the coalition against Israel.
Yes. So Israelis living their lives, they are very strong. This is a nation that came back to have a sovereign state after 2,000 years of exile. So people have been experiencing the phenomenon of a country that was gained by sacrifice. We sacrificed through the ages until we got our independence in 1948. And since then we had 8 wars against enemies. Most of them were initiated by crazy leaders that wanted us dead. They failed. We are strong. Of course, it's not enough to just feel that you can count on a leadership. This is something we have to prepare to. So the Israeli army, the Israeli leadership, headed by Prime Minister Netanyahu, is the most experienced leader probably in the region and maybe in the whole world. We are making sure that Israelis will be safe no matter what the threats are.
Around Israel, even with their friends, there's also many prime ministers, foreign ministers criticizing your government and saying you have to de-escalate now because the situation is too dangerous. Who are criticizing that, I mean, you're not saying that it was Israel, but that Mr. Haniya died. Let's keep it that way. So what do you make out of this criticism which comes toward Israel in these days, saying that this is a danger for major escalation or big war here?
We don't think that the criticism has to be pointed out at the victim. We're the victim of an aggression that is going on for 10 months now. So if there is advice of friends for us to do whatever we can to prevent escalation, I can relate to it. It's a good advice. And this is something that we want. We don't want a whole full-scale war. We don't want escalation. So in the north, we are trying to achieve an agreement with Lebanon for 10 months now, so far without real progress, but we are not going to give up. With Iran, it's a non-starter. This is a fanatic regime, ayatollahs that really don't answer to rational and to sanity, but we're still committed to prevent the war with Iran if they will not attack us.
Have you talked to your partners in the past days? So if Iran attacks Israel, will you get military support from the U.S.?
For sure. We will get support from the U.S. They're very, very close to us in the most intimate way ever. United States, at the beginning of the war, October 7th, embraced us, understood where we stand. President Biden was the first American president ever coming to Israel in time of war and explaining that he is giving an ironclad commitment to the security of Israel. Later, he sent his ships to the area and said to the various crazy leaders in this region, don't, remember. And they understood what he said. The same is happening now. We have very good connection with the White House. Prime Minister was just there several days ago. I had happened to witness the meeting with him and President Biden. The friendship is as close as ever.
Do you get support from European partners, from Germany, from any other country?
Yes, we, of course, are very blessed with the friendship of Germany. The Chancellor Scholz is speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu occasionally.
I'm talking about military support in these days.
We don't ask for military support from anyone, including from the United States. We don't need their troops to come to us.
Well, when the last attack happened from Iran,
Yes.
you needed their air defense. And from
Again,
other
it's
countries.
not military support. It's not boots on the ground.
Yeah,
American
sure.
soldiers will spill their blood for us. There is this framework of CENTCOM that we are part of, the Central Command of America, which other countries are part of. Germany is not part of, but other countries were participating in this coalition that helped us to block the Iranian aggression. And I believe that this coalition will be rebuilt now if there's going to be such an attack once again.
Have you talked to this coalition about a possible new threat coming up in the next days, in the next weeks?
We have very good connection, and I wouldn't like to be more specific.
There is the acting foreign minister of Iran, Ali Bagheri, and he has delivered a message to Qatar stating that, I quote, any Arab nation that provides its airspace to Israel to launch strikes against Iran will become a legitimate target for attack.
Well, that's the Qataris' problem. We don't need Qatar, and we don't need any such involvement in blocking any attack that will occur, if it will occur. And especially we don't need Qatar if we will force to retaliate against Iran.
Are you sure that you can strike or that you can defend the country as you did in April, that no rocket from Iran hits any civilian target?
There's never 100% promised. We cannot commit to this, but I can tell you that Israel has the best air defense in the world, not only in the region, in the whole world. This is why Germany purchased, as you know, the Israeli capabilities in the Aero system that is probably the most sophisticated air defense system in the world. We have very good ways to defend the people of Israel, but I am insisting on making sure that this time is not only about defense.
What does it mean, not only about defense?
It means that the aggressor will have to be punished.
What could that be?
That remains to be seen.
If we talk about a possible major escalation, a big war, and you look back in the past years, you've worked as advisor, security advisor with the government, being in Israel. Can you remember any time in the past years, maybe centuries, where it was so close to a big war?
I don't think we are close to a war. I doubt it. I think that Hezbollah doesn't want war. I'm convinced that Nasrallah, seeing what happened to many of his commanders, would like to prevent a war. I believe that Iran doesn't want a full-scale war.
What does it make you?
Sure.
What makes you so sure?
But we assess that they understand that they're going to pay a big price for a crazy adventure. What we are still reading from them is that sometimes they believe that an aggression against Israel can be contained. So this is the dimension of mistakes, miscalculation. You think you can do something that the other side can absorb. And we want to make sure we are not going to absorb anything that will be targeting civilians in Israel.
My last question, also the Hamas commander Mohammed Deif is dead.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
This is a reflection of Israel's commitment to chase anyone that had to do with the massacre of October 7th. This guy escaped 9 attempts to kill him through the years. So he became a legend, and he became a myth among the Palestinian people. And they thought he's immune forever. And we realized that he cannot escape justice. And we made sure justice was done.
How did you find him?
I'm going to write an autobiography in 25 years. One of the chapters will probably relate to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.